Okay, so today I'm going to show you how to use some household art supplies to create a pretty cool kind of watercolor effect. So what I did was I got some washable markers. It doesn't really matter what the brand is. I've got some Crayola. I have some liquid mark. I just kind of went through my house and found whatever washable markers I had. Optional is a permanent marker or a Sharpie. You could also use like an ink pen, something that's not going to wash away, something not water soluble. All right, and then I have a pencil and a paintbrush. Pencil is kind of optional, just like the Sharpie. Okay, water soluble markers not optional. Paintbrush, you could probably use something else if you really needed to. And I'll show you what it is that we're doing, and then we'll kind of go over how we could maybe make something else work if you don't have a paintbrush. And then I have a plastic food bag. I just grabbed a small one that I have. You're going to be able to use this multiple times, so it's probably going to work pretty well to use multiple times just with drying it off. So what I'm going to do, oh, and I also have some paper. I have two different things that I'm going to show you. So I have two different pieces of paper. These are just some a portion of a piece of drawing paper that I had here at home. You could also use printer paper, which is also sometimes called typing paper. You could use drawing paper. You could use notebook paper. With notebook paper, you'd have to be a little careful just because it is a thinner type of paper. You could also use the back of some old, mail that you've got, that your parents have gotten. Just make sure that it's not something that they need. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take my water-based markers and I'm going to color on my plastic bag just however I want. Okay, now I have two different kinds of water-based markers here, so we'll see how they all work, just because I don't know. Okay, I'm just going to go like this. I'm going to go like this. I'm just going to add some marker. Okay, just color the whole thing. All right, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my blank piece of paper. I have some water over here where you can't see it. I'm keeping it away from my camera. And I'm going to take some clean water and I'm going to brush my clean water all over I'm going to brush some clean water all over my white paper. Here's where you could, if you had like a small little spray bottle or maybe a paper towel or something, you could get the paper wet in a variety of ways. You just don't want it soaked. Then I'm going to take my plastic bag. I'm going to put the marker side down. I'm going to put it onto my watered paper. I'm going to go like this. Okay? I'm going to bring my camera in a little bit closer so you can see what is happening. Okay? So the water is acting with the water-soluble markers as I rub real carefully. And it's kind of squishing the marker around, okay, because it's a water-soluble marker. Sorry, and let me not move that around so much for you. Since it's a water-soluble marker, it is finding all of the water that it can, and it's mixing the marker into a paint. So then when I peel the bag off, I have kind of this blotchy water colored effect. Okay, so what I can do is I can let this dry. I could cut it out once it's dry, and I could turn it into something else. I could, when it's dry, I could write on it. Maybe I would want to write like a positive affirmation or something like that. Because my paper is also bigger than what my plastic bag was, I could also try adding more marker to my plastic bag, and I would have to work pretty quickly because I don't know that I want to get it wet again. But while I'm talking about this, let me see how it works. So if I take and I add some more marker to my plastic bag, since how I have more space, maybe I can increase where the water is. Let's see here. I don't know how this will work, but I don't know that I would want to get my paper wet again, but I could add more to it. Yeah, see, so that's what I'm saying, like one bag, you can use it lots and lots of times. Now I chose some darker colored markers just because I wanted them to be able to show up really well, and so you'd be able to see it, okay? But I would think any color marker would work. But I'm going to show you another thing that I did, which is where the pencil and Sharpie marker come in. So what I did was I got the pencil and I wrote the word amazing, all right? And then I went over it with the Sharpie. Okay, now the Sharpie is not water soluble. It is a permanent marker, okay? So I went over that with that permanent marker, which is why I was saying that maybe an ink pen, that's going to be more permanent than the water-based markers, okay? So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my same bag again, and I'm going to add more marker to it. It doesn't, my bag's not really wet. If my bag was really wet, I would probably want to dry it off, just so that way it didn't mess up my markers, because getting them wet is not always necessarily the best thing for the markers, okay? But I'm just going to color. And because the plastic bag is not a piece of paper, it does not absorb the marker, really. So it's kind of just letting it sit there on top of it, okay? So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to this. And again, my paintbrush and my clean water, okay? And I'm just going to paint over the top of it, just the water. Notice my paintbrush is not drippy, and I've let the marker dry for a little while. I didn't really think you guys needed to watch me write, okay? So I let it dry so that way I could erase any of my extra lines, and also then it's not getting wet right away. It is waterproof, but yeah, getting it wet right away, you gotta give it some time to dry. So now I'm gonna take my bag, I'm gonna put it upside down. Sorry guys, I am at home just like all of you because we are under self-quarantined, and apparently lots of people want to get a hold of me. That's what that beeping, those dinging noises are. Those are people trying to get in touch with me. Alright, so I'm going like this, okay. I'm going to pull it off, okay. That's fun. I'm going to take some more of this. I think I'm going to take some purple. I don't have a lot of purple. I'm going to color some purple. And then maybe just a little bit of green. And some blue. Okay, see, I'm just kind of like scribbling. I'm not really thinking too much about it. And then I'm going to put this like this. Alright. And it's kind of cool. I don't know if you can see it, and I don't think I can film it too well, but you can kind of see like the water like pushing the marker around. It's kind of cool. Alright, it's kind of neat to see. And then I can pull it off. Alright, so use the permanent marker and I can write on my piece of paper first, or I can wait for my paper to dry, and then I could go over it and I could write something else on it. The possibilities with this are kind of endless. The most important thing is making sure that it's dry before you want to go through and do anything else. Now I am going to try just so you can see, and just because I'm curious. If I get this wet again a little bit, just because it's kind of drying as I've been talking. I'm going to come here, go like this. Okay, so it doesn't, okay, so getting some of it wet, again, doesn't seem to cause too much of a problem. Okay. And voila. Okay, so if you don't have water-soluble markers, please don't try to send mom and dad out to get water-soluble markers, okay? This is something really fun that you can try when we don't have to, worry about getting sick because we ran into people outside, okay? So hopefully this is just something fun that you can do to pass the time with. Maybe you could make some cards and send some people some mail, or you could just make some really cool pictures. Just this way, try drawing before, letting it dry, drawing after, depending on what materials you have at home. You could try collaging this together with something else. Possibilities are kind of endless with this, and it's pretty fun. I used just a small bag that I had, but as you can see, I could wipe that off. I don't know that I want to put food in it again, but I mean, I can still use this. This is perfectly fine to use, okay? So that's just one idea to kind of help break the boredom of being home and not being able to go outside.